Every new season of League of Legends begins the same way. Players' rank resets and a race to be the first one to Challenger begins. In this episode, we will take a look at the first player who was able to hit Challenger on the European West server. This is how to play like a Challenger.
Oyuna sezon 6'da başladım. Sezon 6 Pre-Season'da başladım. Sezon 7'de ilk defa Challenger oldum. Talon zaten sezon 7'de reworklandı. 8'in sonuna kadar da TR'de oynadım. Daha sonra AOS'te geçip Challenger olmaya pek çalışmadım ama bu sezon olmaya çalıştım ve başardım.
So, since he was like a kid, he used to play stealth games where you used to hide, assassination games like Assassin's Creed. And after the Talon's rework, since Talon was able to jump over the walls, he just liked it and started suddenly playing it. And that is how it started.
Talongodx has a rather interesting background and history. He's been the top player on the Turkish server for almost 3 seasons now. But a lot of players have claimed that the only reason he was able to hit that is because he was win trading. But if Talongod was able to hit rank 1 and be the first one to Challenger on the European West server, a server significantly more competitive than the Turkish server, then it's not very unlikely that he was able to hit rank 1 on the Turkish server either. So if these claims are untrue, why did they start? Let's take a look at Turkey itself. In 2018, Turkey suffered from an economic crisis that collapsed its economy and devalued its currency. And during this time, Talongod needed a job. So he figured, screw it, I'm good enough at League of Legends, let me do some elo boosting. And this is how he did that.
In Season 7, in Season 8 and 9, when he needed some money, he used to go for elo boosting. He was boosting people while boosting for the high elos. Like, he had more than a couple of accounts, He was already rank 1 on the server, but he had still a couple of accounts where they were challenger based on the elo MMR. So he used to boost people, but in order to save time, in order to focus on his other stuff, he used to go for some win trades while boosting people. So with his own accounts, he used to boost people with doing win trades. So he thought that makes the things faster. Some of the players have thought that he's got rank 1 because he's win trader, but he wasn't. So he's got the rank 1 with 80 win rates without doing any win trades.
Basically, Talongod just wants everyone to know that he wasn't win trading his way to rank 1, he was just win trading his way to the bank. So what exactly does Europe's best Talon player do so differently that makes him so much better than everyone else? Let's break down his playstyle. In Season 11, most players are stuck on this new build, Gore Drinker into Ravenous Hydra. This provides Talon with a lot more sustain and scaling in his games. Most other Talon players are using this build in about 80 to 90% of their games. While Talongod does go for this build, he only does so around 50% of his games. The version of Talon that he decides to go for will mainly depend on the enemy composition. If they have a lot of bruisers in CC, then he will almost always go for items like Gore Drinker in his build. If he's in a good matchup with squishy champions that he feels like he can snowball off of, he will go for a different build, mainly lethality focused. The most interesting part of his lethality build is his first item rush. Talongodx always rushes Iron Spike Whip no matter what matchup he's in. It's a very crucial item to Talon's kit. It provides extra damage to his combo to help him proc Electrocute, and it gives him the wave clear he needs to be able to kill a backline minion. Iron Spike Whip is a mythic unique, meaning it can only be built into 2 mythic items, which are Gore Drinker and Stride Breaker. But what Talongod does instead is he doesn't finish Gore Drinker or Stride Breaker. What he will do is he builds Iron Spike Whip, but then sits on it for the rest of the game. He completes other lethality items that give him a better early game spike, going items like Yumu's Ghostblade and Knight's Edge. What he often does is he will purchase Eclipse instead of finishing off his Iron Spike Whip. Lethality items are far more effective than Gore Drinker if your goal is to just end the game and kill people as quickly as possible. Talongod understands very well that when you're playing a one trick, you have to be able to be flexible in your styles. Thankfully, Talon is a champion that can itemize effectively for the mid and the late game. And if you want to be the most successful Talon player in the world, you have to be able to utilize both styles in the most effective way. The difference in his playstyle is not just his build, but also the way he approaches these builds. If he feels that he's better than his lane opponent, he will still go for early cheese kills like Talon's level 2 all-in. Even though his all-in is significantly better if he has Electrocute and the lethality build, as long as he's confident that his opponent is weaker than him, he will go for these outplays every single time. Now, Talongod is obviously extremely clean on all aspects of Talon, whether it's his combos, his quick trades, his turning around to gank, but these are expected of any one trick who's able to hit Challenger. Being clean on your champ is just the starting point for any great player. So what does Talongod have that other assassin players don't? The answer is patience. Let's take a look at a roam he makes in the early game. The first thing we can look at is his pathing. Instead of roaming from lane, he roams directly from his base. If the enemy Riven knows that Talon went back to base, it is significantly less likely that she will ping her bot lane if he goes missing. In his base, he always buys a pink ward and a red trinket when he goes for a roam. As he moves into the river, he pinks the most commonly used brush on this side of the map. He makes his way through Dragon Pit and over towards an area that cannot be seen by the Tri-Brush ward. Going through this route is intentional because it gives him a little bit more time to wait for the right moment to start his gank. He waits patiently for Draven to start moving into position, and once Draven's there, he goes in. Talon's Q does not follow Jhin through the Thresh Lantern, and the bot laners are able to get out safely. If you pay attention to the minimap, Riven was shown in the river clearing out the control ward that Talongod placed earlier. Since she's not currently in mid lane, it's pretty much guaranteed that she would be here waiting for Talon to go in and is using her bot laners as bait. While Talongod could go in by himself right now, instead he waits for his support and his jungler to get closer in order to flank them. Once he has his abilities and his support back up, he knows that Thresh has exhaust, so he immediately flash combos the Jhin to burst him out before Thresh can do anything. Though the skirmish loses Draven, they still end up with 2 kills and a positive trade. Waiting for the right moment, no matter how long it takes, is key to making sure that your roams are successful, and it's the same way with any of his team fights. While most Talon players feel that their job would be successfully done if they go in and blow up a squishy backliner, that's considered a crap play in Talongod's opinion.
He's approaching the team fights in a patient way. He tries to get into the fight from a place where they cannot see him. So he's trying to jump into the fight later on when there is no other place, and he's trying to kill the enemy team. He tries to actually kill more than one player. He's not planning to one-shot someone and then die. He tries to take at least 2 or 3 kills, and then he's just more focused to the enemy. If he can kill them easily, he doesn't go into all of them. He just goes to the players where he can one-shot them. So if his team is 2 behind, he's the one who is starting the team fights with his flash combo and tries to kill at least one guy.
Essentially, he plays Talon exactly like you're supposed to play Assassin's Creed. You have to methodically stalk and wait for openings on your targets. If you cannot kill your key targets, then you'll fail your mission as an assassin every single time. Talongod is simply the best at being patient, staying in the shadows for as long as possible to find his key targets. Most champions in League don't play like their actual personalities in game. Shen might be a ninja, but his protective playstyle is nothing like a ninja's. Talon plays like an assassin, feels like an assassin, is an assassin, and Talongodx is the best assassin.
Beni izlediğiniz için teşekkür ederim. Eğer ilginizi çektiysem benim tüm sosyal medya hesaplarımı takip edebilirsiniz. Hepsinin adı Talongodx. İzlediğiniz için tekrardan teşekkür ederim.